I've been thinking a lot about who I'm becoming, not just what I'm building, but how I'm showing up for myself. As I close out 2025 and move into 2026, I wanted to sit down and share honestly where I've been, what I learned, and what I'm intentionally stepping into next. If you're new here, I'm Ashley. I've always been someone who cares a lot about how things are done, not just what the outcome is. At my core, my values really guide everything in my life. Integrity is a big one for me. I care deeply about keeping my word, showing up honestly, and doing things in a way that feels aligned, even when it would be easier to cut corners or rush the process. I also value communication and clarity. I believe that so many problems in business, relationships, and even internally come from things that are left unsaid or misunderstood. I've learned that clear communication is a form of respect, both for other people and for yourself. Another value that really shapes how I live and work is partnership. I don't believe we're meant to do everything alone. I value collaboration, support, and building things alongside other people in a way that feels mutual and grounded. I want the people in my life and in my business to feel supported, seen, and empowered, not just managed or micromanaged. From a business perspective, I'm the owner of a company called Transaction Exchange. We work with real estate agents and support them through the transaction process, from contract to close. I'm very system oriented. I love organization. I genuinely enjoy creating structure and processes that make other people's lives easier and less stressful. But one thing that I've come to terms with over this entire year is that being really good at supporting others doesn't automatically mean you're good at supporting yourself. I spent a lot of time building systems, creating accountability, and holding space for other people while quietly letting myself slide in certain areas. And that's really the reason why I made this video. This isn't a business update. This is not a teaching video or a polished highlight reel. It's a personal reflection, a moment to be honest about where I am, what the past has shown me, and what I'm consciously choosing to step into next. I wanted to create space to talk about self-trust, follow through, and what it looks like actually to live in alignment with your values you say you have, not just believe in them. This video is the part of me doing that. 2025 was an interesting year for me. On the outside, a lot of things looked really good. My business grew, I hired a new transaction coordinator, and we closed more files than ever before. I created so many memories that I'll always be grateful for. Running a half marathon with my husband, weekend in places like Taylor's Falls, fishing, camping with our friends when a massive storm rolled through, trips to the state fair, spooktacular, wild games, just genuinely full of beautiful memories. I had a really meaningful year with my friends too. We ran Tough Mudder, we went on a couple retreats, apple orchards, Vikings game, escape room. My friend just had a new baby, and honestly, a lot of great coffee along the way. There was a lot of good, but internally I noticed something that I couldn't ignore. I noticed how often I said I was going to do things and then didn't fall through. I said I'd go to the gym consistently. I said I'd eat better and cook meals at home. I wanted to read more, only to finish 8 books this year. I talked about starting something new, like this video, for example, and I kept putting it off. I told myself I'd take my dog on walks every day, and if I'm being honest, he deserves nothing but the world, and I didn't show up the way I wanted to. It wasn't that I didn't care. I cared deeply. But I overcommitted, underestimated my energy, and waited to feel ready instead of building consistency. And every time that happened, even this in the smallest ways, it chipped away at my self-trust. One of the biggest realizations I had this year was recognizing that after I quit drinking, I replaced that habit with gambling. And coming to terms with that has been very uncomfortable, humbling, and absolutely necessary. I'm actively on the journey of quitting that too because I committed to living a life that's honest and aligned, even when it's hard to look at. 2025 showed me clearly that I struggled with self-discipline and accountability. And instead of shaming myself for that, I'm choosing to see it as information, as pure fact. This year made me deeply aware of the gap between who I know I am and how consistently I was showing up for myself. And that awareness is what's shaping everything that I'm stepping into next. Choosing a word of the year is something I've done for the last 5 years, and every year it's felt like an anchor for how I want to live my life. It's never been about picking a trendy word, it's always been about choosing something that reflects where I am and what I actually need in my life. When I was thinking about 2026, I kept coming back to this feeling that I don't need more ideas or more plans or more inspiration. I already know what I need to do. I already know what works for me. The missing piece has been execution rooted in self-trust. And that's how I came across Actualize. Actualize is about bringing things out of thought and into reality. It's about closing the gap between intention and action, between saying who I say I want to be and how I actually show up day to day. This year, Actualize is deeply tied to rebuilding my self-trust. I want to become someone who does what she says she's going to do. Maybe not perfectly, but consistently. Someone who builds habits that supports her life instead of consistently negotiating with herself or not doing anything at all. And honestly, I want this year to be fun too. I don't want growth to feel heavy or punishing. I want to build great habits, follow through with my commitments, and actually enjoy the process of becoming more aligned. That's who I'm choosing to be this year. Going into 2026, my biggest focus is rebuilding my self-trust. And for me, that starts with doing the things I say I'm going to do. Not in a perfect way, not in an all or nothing way like I have in the past, but in a consistent, realistic way. I've realized that self-trust isn't built through big promises or motivation. It's built through small actions repeated over time. It's built when you show up for yourself, even when no one else is watching. And that's what I'm really committing to this year. I'm putting simple systems into place to support me in that way. I'm using the Finch app to track my daily habits and check in with myself. I'm working through the Atomic Habits workbook, so I'm not just relying on willpower, but actually understanding how my habits are formed and how to make them actually stick, no matter what happens in life, because you know how life is, ups and downs all the time. And I'm following Shelby Sacco's Sad to Savage program to support my habits around nutrition, movement, and taking care of my body in a way that feels sustainable and not extreme. But more than anything, I'm choosing to do more of the things I genuinely love. I want to read more because it grounds me. I want to cook more meals at home because it makes me feel calm and connected. It's my way to show my creativity, and I'm actually pretty good at it. I want to move my body in ways that feel good and not punishing, because movement is something I really enjoy, and I stopped turning it into a chore this year. This year isn't about forcing myself into discipline. It's about building a life that naturally supports the person that I want to be. I'm genuinely excited to jump into 2026 with this energy. I'm going to be lighter, more intentional, and more trusting of myself. I'm ready to actualize the habits, routines, and version of me that I've been thinking of for a long time and finally actually live them. As I wrap this up, I want you to know that I'm not sharing all of this just to say it out loud. I'm sharing it because I'm actually committing to it, and I want to take you with me as I do. This year, you're going to see me show up more honestly. You'll see the habits I'm building, the routines I'm working through, and the moments where things feel really good, and the moments where they feel challenging. But I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming for consistency, integrity, and follow through. So if you're in the season of rebuilding trust with yourself, or learning how to do what you say you're going to do, or even craving a slower, more intentional way of living, you're in the right place. That's the energy I'm stepping into, and that's what I want to share here. 2026 feels like a year of actualizing for me. Not just thinking about the life I want, but actually living it. And I'm excited to document that process, learn along the way, and grow alongside you. This really does feel like the beginning, and I'm glad you're here for it.